In the beginning of the year, Professor Prado defined literature in many different ways. She showed us many different famous opinions on literature. First, the Oxford English Dictionary defines literature as a piece of writing that has claim or consideration and effort was put into its creation. It also describes literature as a work that creates an emotional response or affects the reader in some way. I agree with this, but personally I feel there is more to defining literature. Another interesting definition we were shown was one by Oscar Wilde. He said, "All art is quite useless," in a letter he wrote to a fan. Oscar Wilde describes art as something beautiful and pleasurable, but useless because it isn't really meant to educate anyone or influence anything, but it is only for pleasure and expression. He uses simile to compare art to a flower, which blooms for its own joy. Now, after this course, I feel that I have my own definition. To me, it can't be defined with a concrete definition. I feel like literature is art using different words, art that is interpreted differently by everyone who cares enough to read it. This interpretation is what makes literature literature. Things like facts and evidence can't be seen differently by different people. They just are. Literature, however, is a product of its readers. Their own personal experiences, emotions, and opinions change the work as a whole. This concept of a dynamic piece is what makes literature so important. Yes, I agree with the Oxford definition. Effort is needed to produce literature, and it should invoke some sort of response from the reader, but I feel like it's a lot deeper than this. Anybody can make literature. It doesn't have to be complicated, convoluted, or written in puzzles like most people think. It's an author's expression of what they want it to be.
As FIU students, it is important to study literature because it allows us to see ourselves reflected in art while learning about life and truth. Literature also allows us to see life from another person's perspective, which is crucial in helping us be more understanding and respectful of people with different cultures and beliefs. Throughout the semester, we read many short stories, poems, and plays that allowed me to identify with the speaker of the work. I may not have been going through or have gone through the same exact situation the speaker did, but I was able to connect to the overall message of several literary works. I was also able to gain an understanding of my classmates' lives through their take on a piece which I obtained from their reading journals and in-class discussions.
Literature is a way for people to write down their thoughts and experiences so they can easily share it with others. This is done through the fictionalized versions of their experiences. Literature provides us as students with even more knowledge than what we had before. Literature also allows us to ask questions, look for answers even if there may be none, and start conversations with others. It provides us with a way to appreciate the art of language and how it can be used to express such beautiful things. It gives us the opportunity to enjoy the finer things in life that are usually overlooked. Throughout the course, I have read short stories, poems, and plays that have been hidden gems. I learned so many new things about the lives of others just by reading and analyzing the various works throughout the semester. Overall, literature allows us to look at the bigger picture. You are shown the world through many different perspectives, and through discussion you see the variety of interpretations one piece can have for many individuals.
We went through many readings of short stories, poems, and plays. Each one had a piece to take away from it, such as how we as humans have the ability to isolate ourselves from society in The Hunger Artist by Franz Kafka, and some tips on how to properly write poetry in Sound of Sense by Alexander Pope. I think the aspect in this course I will use and remember throughout my life will probably be the ability to read and analyze various pieces and put forth my own interpretation. Every day in this class, every student has the time to utilize their strengths and address their weaknesses as readers and writers. The one thing liberal arts courses, such as this one, teaches us, as opposed to more hardcore courses, is how to think critically. Math and science courses are based off formulas and reports. The beauty of literature is in the separate interpretation that you can create for yourself and for your classmates. Professor Prado has never rejected our interpretation. She fosters our creativity and insight and helps us develop our thoughts into more concrete theories. The class has taught everyone in my group how to take insight from spoken words into essays that we can use later on in life if we have an educational conversation with somebody. The skills from this class will be used in all other courses. Literature enriches our lives with creativity, knowledge, and culture. And I really appreciate the fact that this class allows me to unlock my own creativity and allows me to interpret things how I see and share it with others without being judged.
Literature can be found everywhere, from analyzing your favorite books and short stories and looking for more meaning than what is explicit, to finding fun figures of speech in the current text you're reading. Reading a bunch of short stories, plays, and poems might seem like a lot of work to do, but it's really not, because each one of them has something new and exciting happening, and you find yourself turning the pages so fast that you don't realize when you're done with the story. Every student will find something for themselves that they like, because in this course you really go through so many genres, topics, authors, new vocabulary that you didn't know existed, that it's impossible not to find something you are passionate about by the end of the course. Believe us that at the end of this class, you will have a new love for literature and reading that you never thought you had.